in this boat app. Space on the track is limited, so be certain to book your adventure in advance.
I'll take the bag with me, but not the big stroller.
So hello everyone, welcome aboard. Slide all the way in across the road. We're gonna be almost good to go. We're just waiting around there wildlife reserve. We're just gonna go over a few safety reminders extremely quick. So just first and foremost, just remember to stay seated at all times, keeping those hands, arms, feet, and legs all the way inside of this truck. Now if you look right up on your head, there's an animal spotting guide. That's gonna help you identify some of the animals that we might see out here today. I'm gonna try my best to point out all of those for you, also give you some information about them. And our journey is gonna start out about the Leader Eatery Forest. Now the forest is the home of the animals that rely on their natural camouflage for their survival. On the right hand side, you'll see our first animal of the day. There's an okapi back here. And okapis get to be known as the ghosts of the forest because of exactly this. They're actually quite hard to see. They're well known for being really shy animals. It's gonna be once again along the right hand side. Right over here you can notice how the okapis, they do have some sort of stripy legs. For that, most people think that they are related to the zebras. Very weirdly, they are not at all. That instead is the closest living relative, but to the giraffe. Catch up with a really big friend. There's going to be some black rhinoceros. And the black rhinos are very rare, also super solitary species. These animals get to turn very territorial against different animals, also other rhinos, so they just isolate themselves most of the day. Black rhinos are also one of the smallest out of the 5 of the rhino species. They can grow up to 3,000 pounds. Well, yep, this one. Taking a quick look around this side of the forest. So we're having a few more animals along the left. You're gonna see some copper kind of orange animals along the top of this hill. There's a group of fungus. And standing up right in front of those bushes, there are also some grayish tan antelopes. A few of those greater kudos. There seems to be a couple of the female kudos. You can tell because they don't have any horns. Only the male greater kudos grow horns. It is also one of the biggest kind of antelopes in Africa. They can grow and stand up to 5 feet tall up to their shoulder. So those were most of the animals around the forest. So we're just gonna start moving out. We're gonna be heading up to the Safi River. Now this will be habitat of some aquatic animals. We're just gonna keep an eye on the water, looking out for some bubbles, maybe dark shapes over here. Starting along the right, you can see some beanbag pelicans. And those birdies got their name because a pink color shows up on the back of their feathers only during mating season. Kinda cute, almost as if they were blushing. You can also see some hippopotamus around the area. Just keep an eye in the water and see some eyes and ears kind of poking out. A group of hippos is known as a bloat of hippopotamus. There's that little bloat of hippos. There's a couple right here on the right. There's a few more along the left. Might be a little bit easier to see. It is very common for hippopotamus to spend most of their time submerged, and this is because they try to protect their skin from the sunburn, also from overheating. They get to hold their breath from about 5 to 8 minutes, and if they wanted to, they can also sleep under the water. They're gonna do this by using some of that muscle memory. They can just come up, they take a breath, and sink all the way back down. pretty cool. You can see some more animals along the left. You have those Nile crocodiles. And crocodiles, just like the hippopotamus, these are super protective, also extremely territorial animals. I like the hippos, by the way. It's kind of obvious, but I like to point out that the crocodiles do eat meat. They're carnivores. And they get to eat half of their body weight in a single critic and about half of their life. So it is crazy to get to eat a lot of it. Now, because of the high amount of food that they eat, crocodiles normally eat around once every week, and that's about it. That is all they eat. Only up to 55 full meals a year. It's super impressive for a reptile of that size. Also, you'll notice that the ecosystem is switching up. We're gonna head up to the savannah. And when you think about the savannah, you probably think of animals like African elephants, zebras, also giraffes. So we'll see if we can find a few of those. Really quick up to the right, there's that baobab tree also. And this is what is called the tree of life. Very important part of the savannah. Those trees get to hold tons of gallons of water. So essentially during the dry season, animals get to use their tusk or their horns to just tap the trunk. They open holes and get the water out. So a little bit like a giant juice box for some animals. We're probably gonna see a few more of those as we move, but so far, let's just head into the savannah. Start seeing a few of the cattle already, maybe some zebras. So let's see if we can get a little bit closer. Start seeing a few of the zebras along the right. And in group of zebras, it is known as a dazzle of zebras. We can get a little bit closer. Also, you can start seeing some of the cattle with their amazing horns. So a few of the Incolli cattle, that animals a sign of wealth in Africa. You can also see a few of those wildebeest around. Wildebeest have a very common African name. They're called gnus, pretty much because of the sound that they make. So it's a little bit like mew, I guess. I do like to say they sound more similar to the moo from a cow. You can also see some puppies on the left. There's gonna be a few of the little African painted dogs. Just look up to the left-hand side. There's about 4 of them. And you might know them by the name the wild dog as well. That's a little more common for them. Wild dogs are one of the most successful hunters around the savannah. Even though they're super tiny, they get to hunt in groups. They're also really smart animals. They have that white color on their tail and everything. They take advantage of that. Normally they use that to spot each other as they hunt. Wild dogs are also a little bit different from some animals out in the savannah. Instead of having a dominant male or a dominant female in the group, painted dogs will have a dominant couple. They usually have a boy and a girl. Also on the left, there is some sable antelopes. About 3 of them right here. Is animals the official symbol of their reserve, known for being really brave animals. The grip shape on the back of those horns is mainly there for their defense. Just in case any predator decides to attack right behind them, it will land directly on those horns. Yes, that's not gonna look very nice. But either way, we're gonna have a better look at those cattle in just a second. Also some of those wildebeest. Here we go. Horns of the Incolli cattle are huge. They can grow up to 6 foot long, normally each horn. But those are actually pretty light for them, about 15 pounds each. Also very useful for them. They get to use those as a cooling system. Basically, pumping blood around their horns helps them to cool off about 12 degrees, more or less. On the right, there's going to be another one of those wildebeest, and right up ahead, you can probably start seeing some giraffes on the top of that hill, all the way up to the left-hand side once again, straight up to the top. And the giraffes are really funny, also super active animals throughout the day. Normally, giraffes get to sleep for about 30 minutes of the day, and that's about it. Getting to also sleep, standing up with their eyes open, so it's a little bit weird to see the giraffes sitting down. Most of the time you'll see them walking around. They also get to wander for food for about 20 hours of the day. That'll be a few more giraffes right up ahead. See a few more right here. Group of giraffes that is known as a tower. It's called a tower because it kind of does make sense, I guess.
But Daddy's red. I see it. I see it. Daddy, it's red. Daddy's red.
Some more wildebeest over here as well. I think this one wants to cross. I'm just gonna give it a chance to go.
Hi.
Alrighty, and I think I see much more around here, so we're gonna be all good to move up. We're gonna start to make our way into elephant territory. Now, of course, African savanna is gonna be home of African elephants. I think you see one of them is gonna be hanging out along the right. I think there's a little couple right here. We might have a better look at them in just a second, so we're just gonna pull forward a little bit more. African elephants are, of course, largest land animal, getting to grow from either 8 to 13,000 pounds. That is a 1-3, just in case, not a 3-0. But still, they're super, super big. Usually females, they're the ones getting up to 8,000 pounds. Males are the ones also getting up to 13,000 pounds. Wow. Alright, so make a quick stop right here. I think it's getting close to snack time for them. The rest of the group as well. There's 2 of them over here. That means that there could be some more around. Now, when we talk about elephant groups, in a group it is very common for it, especially the boys, to be very solitary and territorial, kind of like the black rhino that we spotted earlier. The rest of the group right here, we can start taking a look over at the left. Too sunny for them towards the center. So let's see. We'll keep an eye a little bit further down. The elephants are known for having very sensitive dry skin. So most of the time you'll notice that they try to hang out by the shade. They also try to spend their time close to sources of water, like those baobab trees that we talked about earlier. I don't see any more of them right here, but I do see the Flamingo Island up ahead. Just right along the left. And a group of flamingos is known as a flamboyance. This is a flamboyance of greater flamingos. They're greater because they're one of the tallest of the flamingo species. Also, one of the lightest of those pink colorations. That's why they look a little bit white. By the way, you can always keep an eye for some gray ones in between the flamingo groups. The gray ones tend to be either very young ones or babies. Babies are hatched being fully gray. We have some very young ones born about a year ago. I think they're all getting a little bit pinky already. They're a little bit hard to spot. Also, the flamingos tend to reach up the full size within a year. So in around 7 months, the babies are almost the size of their parents. I think we're going to be all good to say goodbye to them. Also, we're starting to head out of the West Savannah, moving up to the Savannah East. See another elephant back there on the left. So they're hiding back here. That's right. Try to find a few more animals. See one of my favorite animals around the reserve. You have those white rhinoceros. You see one of them laying down by the bottom of that tree, right hand side. White rhinos are one of my favorites. Right hand side. Right there at the bottom. White rhinos are one of my favorites because this is one of the friendliest out of the 5 of the rhino species. Essentially, they're just more social. They're really used to stay around different animals, also other rhinos. The groups are known as a crush of rhinoceros. Also on the left, there'll be a few more animals. You see some cheetahs along the top of this hill. Cheetahs are quite beautiful, of course, fastest land animal. They get to run up to 60 miles per hour in about 3 seconds. And also they get to maintain their speed for about a few hundred yards. Cheetahs are diurnal hunters. Out in the wild, tend to be a lot more active throughout the day, during the early morning as well. And this is because, yes, they're really fast animals, but they're not really strong. Hunting during the day makes it easier for them to avoid nocturnal predators that will basically be way stronger than them. So I also like to say that they're really smart animals. Right up ahead, we're also going to head up to this rock formation. This one's called the Pry Rock. Most of you guys are familiar with these rocks already. This is the home of the African lions. On the left, you guys are seeing a lioness sitting down along the grass. There's going to be the boy on the other side of the rock. Well, we're going to try to follow him as best as we can. We are quite lucky to see 2 of them awake at the same time, though. Lions are nocturnal. They can sleep around 16 or 20 hours of the day, making them really active during the night, during the early morning, sometimes. By the way, I do like to say that these are not lazy animals at all. They sleep a lot because they try to save their energy for the night and for their hunting. In a pride, the boys are mostly in charge of protection. They take care of the cubs, that means baby lions, or any of the older ones in the group, while the females will do about 90% of the hunting. There's a boy right there. This is a very young male, by the way. You can see the little mane still growing out of his neck. On the left-hand side, though, you can see some warthogs back there. This is Pumbaa. Kind of up to the left back corner. You gotta look a little bit over your shoulder to see them. There's 2 of them. Warthogs are closely related to the pigs. This is the largest burrowing mammal, even though they're super small. And the burrow simply means to dig those little holes that you see in the earth. Those are the burrows. They get into those holes during the night so they can avoid predators. Usually they will back up into the burrows, letting their face and their tusk out, just in case there's any predator around. They're ready to defend themselves. Also on the right, there's another look at those rhinos back there. They're a little bit hard to see. They look like big rocks. Just in case you see them, I'm gonna point them out really quick. last thing around this side of the savannah, it's gonna be some eggs on the right, just right at the bottom of this bed. If you have those ostrich eggs, 5 or 6 of those. I do not remember seeing the ostriches. It could be feeding time for them as well, but that's alright. At least we got to see a few of those back there. And the ostrich eggs tend to be huge, also super heavy. They can weigh up to 3 pounds each one, and they're also very dense. It is possible for an adult to step on a group of those without even cracking the shells. I do believe we're all going to head up to the last section of their reserve. This is going to be Magadi Glen. Now, this will be home of the Nigerian bird goats. Honestly, one of the cutest animals around. You see them all over the place. They like to hang out around their little house. Here we go. He's scratching. Goats are very social, also super playful animals. It's truly one of the most domesticatable animals in the world just because of how friendly they are. Normally, they just grow up to this tiny size, max about 2, maybe 2.5 feet. But there's a chance there's some full-grown adults running around this group. So far, we're all going to start making our way out of their reserve. So right at this point, I always like to recommend people about some places where you could also see animals. Here in Africa, you'll still have the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. It's a self-guided tour. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes, but you get to see a bunch of African animals around there as well, like the okapi that we saw at the beginning. You also have an underwater viewing area, one of the hippo bulls that we had out there. You'll see some gorillas, monkeys for sure, some meerkats, meerkats. And they're gonna be open until 5 o'clock. Actually, all of the walking trails around the park, the 2 walking trails that we have, the Maharaja Jungle Trail and the Gorilla Falls Trail, are gonna be open until 5. And again, those are just some self-guide tours. The Maharaja Trek is gonna be over at Asia. But it is basically the same as Gorilla Falls, but with Asian animals. Over there, you get to see some Komodo dragons, there's water buffaloes, fruit bats, and Sumatra tigers as well. Tigers are going to be over at Asia. And since we're about to have that final all clear from our warden, so as we get close to the end, in Harambe, we don't like to say goodbye. It's far to start, far to final, so instead we say Kwaherini, which means to go well. So for the last time today, Kwaherini friends, hope you guys go well, go wild, and go enjoy the rest of your day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom.